Glenn Kangas, cold-hearted appraiser, here with another vlog. Today we're going to help both consumers and real estate agents. So let's talk about appraisal waivers. What is an appraisal waiver? Fannie and Freddie Mac have both been allowing appraisal waivers even since before COVID. And so if a property has been appraised recently is in their system, a loan may qualify for an appraisal waiver, now called value acceptance, because you know they got to tweak the language, meaning that no appraisal or it might involve value acceptance plus a property data inspection by a non-appraiser to confirm the condition of the property. The highest amount of waivers occurred in 2020 during COVID, with both Fannie and Freddie reaching almost 50%. The most recent data for purchase appraisals shows about 13 to 16% of purchase appraisals received appraisal waivers or waivers plus data acceptance. As an appraiser, of course, I am biased. This is the only thing I am biased about. I do not like them, as it removes the only unbiased person in the whole process. We are the only unbiased person in the whole process, and I think that's important. However, from an agent and or buyer-seller perspective, there are pros and cons to appraisal waivers. For the seller or selling agent, there are way more pros than cons. It's pretty much all pros. There's no chance of the appraiser killing the deal on value or condition. There's generally faster loan approval, and there's reduced or no liability. If a property qualifies for that, it's hard for anybody to sue you for any kind of liability in that situation with regards to the value. For the buyer or buyer's agent, a couple of pros: generally faster loan approval and closing. But the cons are there's no protection against overpaying for the property, as an appraisal might not come into the contract price. Additionally, they actually protect the bank, because it's basically an appraisal waiver for the bank, not for the buyer. And the bank then is not liable in that situation if you overpay for the property. An agent can be sued by the buyer in this case because the agent is not given protection, only the bank. There's no verification of the living area, so we measure as an appraiser and it might not be as big as you thought. And one additional pro, though, is since the bank is the client for the appraisal with the loan, you can accept the appraisal waiver for your property, but still have an appraisal done by a local appraiser that you choose, not that the bank chooses, and then you are the client, not the bank. When the bank is a client, we can't talk to you about value, we can't talk to you about anything. But then when you're the client, we can talk to you about everything. We can tell you all the things you need to know. So being the client is a big deal. So that this means you can talk to the appraiser and about the value of the property and any other questions you have about the process. So the one big benefit for the buyer is that you can accept an appraisal waiver as long as you still have an appraisal contingency, and then you become the client and protect yourself to make sure you don't overpay and you have a clear picture of the market. So that's my advice for buyers in an appraisal waiver situation, that you should definitely accept the appraisal waiver but hire your own appraiser. Thank you.